Hello, Candace.
Not you again.
Me again. Remember our last oil change? Your boyfriend said he knew a guy who knew a guy. None of those guys knew what they were doing, including you, Todd.
Silence your oil change anxiety at Valvoline Instant Oil Change, where you can watch our experts change your oil right from your car.
Thanks for coming in.
And finish in about 15 minutes. Valvoline. Service you can see, experts you can trust.
This episode of Tap and Step is presented by CoverZero Analytics, the leaders in next-level football data. CoverZero delivers predictive matchup previews, classification-based grading, and customized analysis to football coaches who want more than the same old breakdown of tendencies. With CoverZero, football coaches now have a tool that can measure all aspects of their team's performance. CoverZero is built entirely around smarter data analysis, helping thousands of coaches find winning edges that don't always appear in film study. If you're a football coach looking for an extra advantage, CoverZero invites you to join the hundreds of premier programs that have taken their scouting intel to the next level. Ready to see how the best teams win? Start with CoverZero Analytics. Find out more at CoverZeroAnalytics.com. That's CoverZeroAnalytics.com.
Y'all are the coolest nerds, though.
Okay, I'll take that.
Tap and Step, your premium Texas high school football podcast from your friends at Dave Campbell's Texas Football and TexasFootball.com. I am the Tep, Greg Tepper, in studio.
Also in studio, I am the Stepp, Matt Stepp.
Wow!
Hello.
Back
Hello.
from the Great White North.
I am back, and I am glad to be home, and I see the humidity did not leave.
No, it didn't.
It was quite humid. It's quite humid today as well.
It is.
Back from the north.
Those other dulcet tones you hear belong to the other person who is in our studio. Kind of. She's in the control booth. There she is, regular sized. V&A Moreno.
Finally.
She's back.
Great to be back, guys.
She's extremely back.
Not being on screen the whole time.
This is your Week 2 preview edition of Tap and Step. We do thank you for being a Dave Campbell's Texas football subscriber, or not.
We thank you for being cheap.
Well, we
Watching
don't.
this on Friday.
We don't thank you.
No,
for
we
it.
would like for you to subscribe because it helps us. It helps us do really cool things if you subscribe.
Yeah, if you want to help pay V&A's
Exorbitant salary.
Yeah, and I don't know if you see the car she's driving these days.
Okay.
I didn't even know that they make cars that fancy.
No, I didn't either.
It's crazy. Anyway, so help pay V&A's exorbitant salary. TexasFootball.com/subscribe. This is your Week 2 preview edition. We've got plenty to get to. Overreacting to Week 1 of the Texas high school football season. We will have that, and then Matthew, we will have our Week 2 game draft. There is a lot of interesting. It's an interesting slate. It's not as high profile.
No.
As Week 1.
It's a good slate, though.
It's a good slate.
There's
some strong games.
And I think some games got more interesting after the Week 1 results. So
at least 2 that I could think of off the top of my head that I'm a lot more interested now than I would have been, say, 72 hours ago. But first, Matthew, we will start as we always do with your Texas high school football fun fact of the week, presented by CoverZero Analytics. Woo. You see that? Sign on the desk?
Branding.
It's branding. Go to CoverZeroAnalytics.com to learn more about your high school football team.
That sounds like a threat.
It is a threat. If you don't go to CoverZeroAnalytics.com, we are not friends.
Oh.
CoverZeroAnalytics.com. And now that the season's rolling in, they've got the goods. It's not just projecting from last year. It's now we're digging into the actual
real
data and stuff like that. Matt Stepp. It's CoverZero. That's my son.
Way more important than me.
Matt Stepp, your Texas high school football fun fact of the week. Week 1 of the Texas high school football season is in the books. Mm-hmm. It was a wild week across the state.
Wild and woolly.
This is not the Texas high school fun fact of the week, but do you know off the top of your head what the highest scoring game in the state was last week?
Was it El Paso Eastlake and El Paso Bel Air?
It was. El Paso Eastlake beat El Paso Bel Air 70-50, and the quarterback for Bel Air was like our quarterback of the week.
Yeah, he threw for like darn near 600 yards,
and they lost by 20.
Yeah.
Anyway, that is
Shout out to Bel Air. They're much improved. Gary Ricotter's ball club much improved this year.
Absolutely. But Matt Stepp, that's not your Texas High School fun fact of the week. Matt Stepp, your Texas High School fun fact of the week. What was the lowest scoring game in week 1?
Oh.
Lowest scoring UIL 11 man game. My guess is that this one flew under your radar.
It probably did, because I've got no idea. Graham and Midland Christian.
It's a good guess, and Graham and Midland Christian is. I actually don't know if that's a good guess. They left 17-7.
That was the lowest scoring game I can recall off the top of my head.
I mean, Tascosa Paladero was 10-0.
Oh, that's right.
But that's not the lowest scoring.
Oh, really? It was one.
Matt Stepp,
okay.
Your Texas High School fun fact of the week: the lowest scoring game in week 1. Nederland 6, Lumberton 3 in overtime.
Well, they needed overtime for that, huh? Ooh.
Yes.
Was it 0-0 going into overtime, or was it 3-3?
It was, I believe, 3-3.
Okay.
I believe it was 3-3 going to OT, and then Nederland kicks a game-winning field goal in overtime.
Heck yeah.
To win it, as Nederland wins a real taffy pull.
Yeah.
6-3.
It's week 1. Weird stuff happens.
It is. Look, but I got to tell you, the Nederland staff, of course, largely comprised of Katy guys. Mm-hmm. That's a very Katy game.
Yeah, they're probably like, this is great.
Like 6-3, that feels awesome. There it is. Your Texas High School fun fact of the week: Nederland 6, Lumberton 3. Your lowest scoring game of week 1 across the state of Texas. Thank you, CoverZero Analytics. Thank you.
Thank you for your courage.
Matt Stepp, a little week 1 recap, a little week 1 report. I mentioned this on TFT. This is always, I think, the worst week for rankings because we have the worst amount of data putting things together. But I'll just, the rankings you can find on TexasFootball.com and see what we did.
They're out.
They're out. I think there's reasonable people can disagree, but our entire stance is basically, all right, who did you play? And and how competitive were you? And especially with regards to who did you play, what is your perceived value versus the team that you played, right? That's all we can kind of go off of. So, like, for example, Cuero beat Columbus 28-21, right? Great game. We kept Columbus number 1 in 3A Division 1. And we did that because they were highly competitive against a good team. We think Cuero's pretty darn good. That is larger than them. To me, that is a real hands-off type situation. It's like, okay, that's fine.
Yeah, you're punching up. You're competitive. You lose a close one, and you're punching up against a really good team. Like, Cuero's not a team that was 2-8 last year. They're a team that we think could win Region 4. So
I would say the opposite of that would be what we did with Galena Park North Shore. So Galena Park North Shore, somebody on this podcast called it. It wasn't me. Galena Park North Shore.
Some people are football geniuses.
Came up to Kincaid Stadium and played South Oak Cliff, and it ended up being a 10-point loss. But the game, like, this is a big college football playoff thing, game control, right? Yeah. South Oak Cliff was in control of this game from pretty much the word go. Yeah,
it was a pretty thorough win for South Oak Cliff. North Shore I never felt like North Shore, and I watched a good portion of this game online, and I just never felt like North Shore was in that game. And so, game control completely in South Oak Cliff's favor. North Shore punching down from as a 6A Division 1 to a 5A D2. Yeah, South Oak Cliff's one of the best 5A D2s, maybe the best 5A D2. But I felt like that was just a not a great performance, and I thought, in my personal opinion, dropping North Shore is fair out of the rankings just because of all those circumstances, and then a lot of other teams had nice wins, and so you want to reward those teams for that performance because we've only got one data point. I think North Shore will probably get back into the rankings at some point.
That's my guess.
But I tell people all the time, especially in 6A, when you look at the state rankings, you get past about 12 to 15 in that range, there's a lot of churn. Because there's about a group of like 40 teams that are all probably kind of very equal, and they're all going to have similar resumes, and there's going to be a lot of churn at the bottom of the 6A rankings because you're ranking 25 teams versus 10 teams.
So South Oak Cliff goes in the category of teams that impressed in week 1. Yeah. I think that they were exceptionally impressive. Give me a couple other teams that you looked at from their week 1 performance and you're saying, I would like to buy some stock in you, please.
We'll start locally in the DFW area. Frisco Lone Star.
Yeah.
That was pretty impressive what they did to a really good Argyle team.
You want to talk about game control. Yeah. They had game control.
And they did it without Davian Gross, the Florida commit. He didn't play. So you go on the road, you beat a really highly ranked 5A Division II team by 3 touchdowns without maybe your best player. I mean, you're going to get some definite props for me for that performance. I think the other one that was impressive, going all the way down to small school ranks. How about Garrison's Thursday night performance over Wascom, beating Wascom by 20? Very, very impressive for Brandon Alvarez's ball club. That certainly caught my eye in that 2A Division I showdown.
I'll kind of give you another. I'll go big school and small school. Big school, 2 of them both in the Houston area. Dickinson.
Yes.
We said last week that we thought that this could be the best Dickinson team in a couple years.
Talk about game control.
They dominated Katy on Saturday night. If you were paying attention to college football, that's cool. Dickinson pretty much bodied Katy.
Yeah, it was 34-14 late. Katy scored late to make it 30. Little window dressing, and Katy, one of their touchdowns was a kickoff return for them. Katy up till the end of the game only had 1 offensive touchdown. Yeah. Very, very impressive from John Snelson's ball club.
The other one that I want to make sure I mention in the big school ranks is Pearland. That is a team that came out of the gates hot. They looked really, really good. They dominated Fulshire from the word go, and obviously new coaching staff there at Fulshire with Stephen Hill taking in. But I think you saw 52 points. Awfully impressive. They had a huge game on the ground, 222 rushing yards.
If Pearland's going to do that offensively with that front 7, they're going to be a real. I mean, we've said it. The parity, and we look at 6A as a whole. I think that may be the biggest storyline coming out of week 1 is I think the amount of parity at the 6A level. I mean, 4 teams in our top 10 lost. And I don't think it was a problem with our rankings. No, because the other classifications were pretty chalky. I think 6A is that's going to be 6A this year. We had 4 teams lose, 1 was on a bye, and that's pretty. In the top 10, it's pretty impressive, pretty wild. I think that's one of the biggest storylines coming out of 6A.
Yeah, I think so. The other one that I want to make sure we bring up, and there's another Thursday night affair. I thought what Gladewater did to Dangerfield on Thursday night was very impressive.
Yeah, and Jermaine Lewis's first game as the head coach there at Gladewater. Dangerfield's such a hard team to read. You just don't know what you're going to get from Dangerfield, and sometimes, and then as soon as we bury them, they pop off and go to the 4th round. So a little bit of concerning because Gladewater struggled last year. I tell you, that district in Class 3A Division I with Gladewater, Jefferson, Atlanta, Tatum, White Oak had a nice one, nice performance. So it's a loaded district.
I want to make sure we shout out a couple of coaches who are in first year situations that I think really, really shined. It's Erwin Garcia, is that the coach?
Yeah, Erwin Garcia at Fort Worth Diamond Hill. Yeah,
they snap a 46-game losing streak. Congratulations to them. That's a long time coming. I mean, they hadn't won again this decade, and to go out there and get a win in week 1 against South Hills, who, by the way, from a Fort Worth ISD, performance.
South Hills has had good years.
Yeah, exactly right.
A little bit down now, but they've had some good years.
Absolutely.
Good win for the Eagles.
Yeah, I feel good about them. I mentioned this on TFT. Tucker Carter at Livingston took over a team that was 0-10, and they went out there and beat Fort Bend Austin, a 6A team, in week 1. I was very, very impressed with.
That's a 4A Division I being a 6A.
Being a 6A. That is really, really impressive for a first-year coach and a guy who we covered in high school.
Yeah, makes it. I'll give one shout out. Shout out to Greg Davis at Wichita Falls Legacy. First win in program history. His first game as a head coach, and they knock off Lubbock Coronado 28-22. So congrats to Coach Davis and the Legacy Leopards, their first win in school history.
And then finally, Zach Woodward, the coach at Byron Nelson. We were out there on Thursday night at Shotwell Stadium, watched Byron Nelson on the Dave Campbell's Rising Game of the Week. It was, and watched them beat Wolfforth Friendship relatively soundly. After a kind of, they were kind of felt each other out for the first quarter, and then really Byron Nelson and Parker Almanza, their quarterback, really stepped up in a big way. But Zach Woodward, who of course took over as head coach after the tragic passing of Travis Pride, he takes over, wins game 1 on his birthday, by the way. Yeah. His birthday. So
birthday, coach.
Pretty cool there. And obviously an emotional win for that program, which has had a really tough offseason.
Yeah, and Coach Pride's son, Colt Pride, got an interception there in the first quarter. Kind of,
that's a real goosebumps moment.
Yeah, really cool for him and those guys. So, do we want to talk about the bad? Or
we can talk a little bit about the bad. Who are give some teams that you're giving a little side eye now?
Friendship. That was a rough performance from Friendship to open the season. Friendships, they're known as an offensive team, and they score, they averaged 50 points a game the last couple of years. They really struggled. And then I think we got to talk about what happened on Saturday out in Georgia. That was DeSoto got pummeled,
got handled.
Which they won that game last year 70-0, and then this year we turn around and they lose 7. And here's the thing: DeSoto scored 28. They had 3 kickoff returns for touchdowns.
Jeez.
Their starting offense did not generate a touchdown in that game. The touchdown they did score offensively was late in the game with backups. Their backup quarterback was in the game. I think the most concerning thing for DeSoto was, once again, defensively, they tackled poorly. They were just bullied. And that's just, the end of the season last year with that, losing to Longview. They start the season, and if I'm a DeSoto fan, I'm concerned because it doesn't get any easier. You've got North Crowley this week, and then in 2 weeks you have Waxahachie and Duncanville to open district.
Yeah, that's
this is going to sound crazy, and I said this on a different podcast on the Dub last night. Shout out to my friends there on the Dub podcast. But I think it's not crazy to discuss. There is a possibility DeSoto misses the playoffs. It sounds incredible to say, but Duncanville, Waxahachie, Lancaster had a good performance against North Crowley on Thursday to open the season. Cedar Hill with a resounding win over Midlothian. It's not crazy talk to say that. No. So I think there's a lot of work that has to be done at DeSoto.
No, you're not wrong.
They fell out of the rankings and deservedly so. That can't happen. So it's definite work to do for them. They can get the wheels back on. It's possible. I'll guarantee you a win over North Crowley this week and the wheels are back on. But they got a lot of work to do. That was pretty disappointing.
Yes, ma'am.
You said they played in Georgia?
Yeah, they traveled all the way to Georgia to play an out-of-state game against a team that now, I want to be really clear, we want to be on Front Street here. We don't keep up with Georgia high school football.
Yeah, not an expert.
Not my thing.
On Creekside, Georgia.
Yeah.
But
it seems like they're a pretty good team.
I think they're a good team. Just kind of reading to some of the Twitter talk Saturday. They're a good Georgia team.
Not some juggernaut.
They're the size of a 5A school. I think their enrollment's about 1,600. And DeSoto's a 6A, but their enrollment is probably under 2,000. So there wasn't much enrollment difference in the schools. Yeah. So,
but this is not modern day. This is not St. John Bosco. This is not IMG or even like Broken Arrow or like some of those big Oklahoma teams, stuff like that. I think it's a good Georgia team, but it's not like, oh wow, like they walked into the teeth of a machine. Okay.
What was your question, VNA? I'm sorry, you had a question.
Well, I mean, yeah.
You just thought it was odd they went to Georgia.
Yeah. Is there any specific reason why it was a Georgia team?
I think they were trying at realignment last year. They were trying to find a game, and I think they probably got with a promoter or somebody who kind of pairs.
Okay.
There are people out there who will kind of play matchmake. Kind of like in the dating world. You kind of have these matchmakers that are out there. I don't know anything about that, but there's football matchmakers.
Of note, that's how you got the fake high school a couple years ago.
That is how you got the fake high school. That is how Bishop Sycamore came about, was through a promoter. So sometimes it works out for you, and sometimes
you end up on ESPN with a fake high school.
You know who else Bishop Sycamore were supposed to play that year before they got exposed? They were supposed to play Duncanville.
That's right.
Yeah, we almost had. Yeah, but they got exposed before that. So,
yes.
Yeah.
Anyway,
shout out Bishop Sycamore.
4 teams that I want to make sure I'm like I kind of want to throw up a little bit of red flag.
Okay.
Crowley.
Yes.
Goes to Birdville on Friday night, 34-27. I do think Birdville's better, but
Crowley's a 6A that went to the third round last
Exactly
year.
right.
And you're losing to a 5A D1 who missed the playoffs.
Odessa Permian. In case you missed it, Saturday afternoon.
Well, how about the red flag for all of Little Southwest Conference?
Absolutely.
They were 0-6 in week 1.
Tough.
Yikes.
They lose to Plano, 27-17. And then 2 teams that I would categorize as last year's Cinderellas that struggled out of the gate. Woodville loses to Orangefield rather resoundingly at home. I've got some. We knew that Tavian Hunter is gone. They have to replace some people.
And a new coach.
And a new coach.
Yeah.
A lot there. And then also Joaquin. Joaquin loses to Frankston. Now I like Frankston. I think that's a good team. The good. Are they in Region 2?
Frankston's in Region 2.
Region 2. They're one of those teams.
They're in the district of Mildred and Italy.
They're in that kind of wide open region.
Sure.
Region 2. So I do like Frankston, but 40-22 out of the gate for Joaquin, I thought was a tough way to start. So kind of in that Cinderella, does the shoe still fit?
Sure.
Early returns maybe not as promising. Okay, so there you go. There's a little bit of Week 1 recap. Also, Coppell's 1-0.
Everman is not 1-0. Lake Dallas is 1-0.
Lake Dallas is 1-0.
Nice win over Denton High.
How about that? Let's go.
Yeah, it was
Get those Greenbirds going.
It was a tough night for the Everman Bulldogs. We're not going to talk about it too much.
It's now time for your Week 2 game draft. We're back, folks. And if this is your first episode of Tep and Stepp, welcome. Here's how it works. Stepp and I will go back and forth selecting games that we are most interested in. That is the phrase that pays. We can be interested in it for some reason. So last week we posited that you could have taken Dimmitt versus Memphis. And by the way, Dimmitt got a resounding, I can't find it right now, but it was like
41-0.
41-0 win over
the Memphis Cyclones.
Cyclones, yes. We will see, by the way. I want to know where their realignment number comes in. Memphis.
It could be 6. They could have 6-man numbers.
Could have 6-man numbers.
Yeah.
We've seen teams that have 6-man numbers play up. In fact, we've seen teams with 6-man numbers play up and make it to a state championship game. Hello, Hamlin. Mm-hmm. But we'll see where that
goes. One underrated thing. This is really in the weeds of Texas high school football.
Yeah, bud.
But Memphis's stadium kind of backs up to 287, and like if you kick an extra point, the football can go into the freeway.
Yeah.
If Memphis goes 6-man, we'll not have that anymore.
Oh, interesting. It'll be shorter.
Yeah,
absolutely.
So that might be the nerdiest and most sicko thing I've ever thought of.
You're thinking of.
That's hell. Welcome to Tep and Stepp.
Absolutely.
Where sickos come to talk.
So this week, hypothetically, if Matt Stepp wanted to take
Riviera Coffer and Progresso,
you absolutely could.
Shout out to the Red Ants
and the Seahawks. By the way, that's a good.
That's an elite mascot matchup.
A mascot matchup.
By the way,
Seahawks versus Red Ants.
If you are someone in Progresso and you would like to send the Dave Campbell's crew Progresso Red Ants shirts, we will gladly.
We will.
Those.
I want to be really clear.
I'll wear it on the show.
I want to be really clear. Can you give me the one shot here, VNA?
Oh, calling ISO.
We can be bought.
Absolutely. We're for sale.
So let's get to our Week 2 game draft. We'll go 5 rounds back and forth, selecting games we're most interested in. Then we'll round it all with our Hipster game of the week. Mm-hmm. Matt Stepp and I had a coin toss before the show. I won the coin toss, so I get to pick 1-1. And we will start.
Can I protest?
No.
Dang it. Okay.
7:30 p.m. Friday night at Bobcat Stadium in Salina.
That was my game. That was... Dang it. Finger guns
as
over. Darn it.
The Salina Bobcats, the number 1 team in 4A Division 1, welcome in the La Vega Pirates out of Belmead, America, in the greater Waco area.
Dave Campbell's alma mater.
Dave Campbell's alma mater. A number 3, I think, in 4A Division 2. Sounds right?
I think
There's
so.
no way to know that.
I believe they are number 3.
In a matchup of
Confirmed,
teams,
number 3.
A matchup of teams that both played in state championship games last year, a matchup of teams that both have eyes set on AT&T Stadium again, a matchup of teams that both started the year 1-0 in kind of different ways. For Salina, it was a good win on a neutral site against a pretty good Belleville team. Now, I do not think that Belleville is what they were when they made a state championship game.
Mm-hmm. Agree.
And in fact, I believe, I want to make sure, somebody tweeted me this. Do you know Belleville threw for 2 touchdown passes?
What? What's going on in Belleville? Grady Rowe, what are you doing,
They're
dude?
sick. They're sick in Belleville. But this is a 50-28 win over Belleville. Salina looked the part. They played in Hewitt.
Especially in the second half. First half, it was
a
one-score game at halftime.
It was.
A couple of Belleville fumbles in the second half kind of busted that thing open.
La Vega had no issues with Kennedale in Week 1. 41-3. This game was 14-0 at the end of the first, and it never got closer from there. And most importantly, I thought the defense stood on its head. The defense held them to, I believe, like 110 yards of total offense.
Yeah, that was a virtuo. That's a Don Hyde performance. Mm-hmm. Don Hyde is in his bag, folks, because Kennedale, one thing we know Kennedale will do is run the ball.
Yes.
That wing T offense under Richard Barrett. Kennedale had 56 yards rushing in that game.
Yeah, they averaged less than right at 2 yards carry.
That's vintage La Vega defense right there.
And that's what kind of has me interested about this game. Because, look, I don't think I'm going out on a limb when I say that I know who has the best player in this game. The best player in this game is Bo Bentley, the quarterback for Salina.
Benzer Bentley.
Of course, he is on the gatefold cover of Dave Campbell's Texas Football. And they've got other guys back like Luke Biagini, who's one of the defensive players of the year last year.
Tight end Wyatt Villarreal, Pitt commit.
They got some dogs.
Logan Gutierrez at running back.
But here's the thing about La Vega, okay, is that for Salina, the question coming into the year was going to be up front on both sides of the ball, offensive line and defensive line. And we kind of said, Bill Elliott, Trench God, he is going to figure it out.
Yeah.
He's going to figure it out. And the early returns are good. Let me tell you about a program that we know will test where you are in the trenches. Mm-hmm. This is a final exam type thing here, because one thing about La Vega, they are going to beat you up front.
They're going to be physical.
They're going to be real physical. Yeah. And they've got dudes up front to do it, okay? They've got a defense that is loaded. They've got a number of playmakers defensively. You add in playmakers of their own, Courtney Parr, Jabari Thornton. This will
Oklahoma State commit. Yeah.
This will be a much more dynamic offense than Salina face in week 1.
Correct.
All due respect to Belleville. Even just schematically.
Yeah, schematically, and then balance.
Mm-hmm.
I know Bryson Rowland graduated for La Vega, but I think his little brother's playing running back.
I think it's like Caden and Casey Rowland. Yeah.
And so I don't worry about La Vega having a running back. They will have a guy who can run the football.
And that, I think, is really, this is a real gut check for where Salina is in their build. This is a matchup that I think, if it were to be played in week 10, I would think of it very differently than I do in week 2. Just because this is a Salina program that we think is a team that's going to have to grow. I think La Vega is going to beat Salina.
Really?
I think La Vega's physicality, they're a more known commodity in week 2. And I think that especially up front, they are more of a finished product. And Salina, I think they're still figuring out. I still think Salina's still my pick to win 4AD1.
Mm-hmm.
But I think in week 2, this matchup, I think it favors La Vega.
I do think it's going to be a very close football game. I'm going to go with Salina, just to be the champions advantage. And I do think if this game was in Waco, I would be a lot more inclined to maybe pick the upset. I think it's going to be a very close game. I think La Vega matches up well with Salina. Mm-hmm. But okay. In the end, let's give Salina the champ's advantage, and Bo Bentley is going to make a play at the end to win. Okay.
I think that's fair, too. I think it's a whale of a ball game, and we will get a real litmus test on where two legit state championship contenders stand early in the year. Fascinating ball game there. What is your first pick, Matthew, now that I took your 1-1?
You did take my 1-1, but my number 2 is pretty good, and I just need to see what day this game is on because I did not look that up. But
doing great.
While I look up the day of this game.
Not like we can edit this out or anything.
I believe it's Friday night. Yes, 7 o'clock Friday night at Yates Stadium in Willis, Texas.
Ooh.
I believe live on Texan Live. The Klein Collins.
Hold on, let her do it. Thank you.
Thank you, DNA.
She's back.
The Klein Collins Tigers visit the Willis Wildcats in a battle of 1-0 teams in a real measuring stick games for teams in that Houston area that are kind of that second tier teams that I think I'm really looking forward to seeing how this game goes because I still have some unanswered questions about both of these football teams. Let's start with Klein Collins. And for about 2 quarters, I was thinking last week on Thursday night, this Klein Collins team is ready to go.
Oh, yeah.
They looked the part because they raced out to a 28-0 lead on College Station. And I'm like, oh, boy, this Klein Collins is back, y'all. After last year's struggles, they got it together late in the year. They're back. Braden Schagen with 2 touchdown runs and a touchdown pass to help them get to a 28-0 lead. And I'm thinking, here we go. Well, then all of a sudden, College Station, they get their wheels on, and they darn near come back and win this football game. It's 28-28 with under 2 minutes left. I'm thinking we're going to overtime. And then Schagen puts the cape on and rushes for a 56-yard touchdown to get Klein Collins the win. So credit to Klein Collins. They hung on and won at home against a good College Station team. But that third quarter especially, where the game kind of got away from them, still have a lot of questions. go over to Willis, and we know about Jermaine Bishop. We know about Jermaine Bishop.
Quite good at football.
He is good at the game of American football. He requests all the meat and cheeses from the deli counter.
Everything.
Yes.
Everything.
Give him all the deli meats.
Full
and cheeses.
charcuterie.
Yes. He is that dude. But Willis had questions, primarily at the quarterback position, because the guy that played quarterback for them in 7-on-7 was ruled ineligible by the UIL. So we did not know who Willis was going to put at quarterback. Well, in steps freshman Lincoln Frazier to lead the way. And this kid's 6'2", 185. I don't know what the hell they're feeding these 13-year-olds these days, but good Lord. I watched the tape of the game. He looks like a senior. He's been in the weight room. He's a big old joker. And he throws a couple of touchdown passes to Bishop. And Willis looks like Willis. They're out there 5 wide, slinging it around, just letting it all hang out. Trent Miller's ball club, they're doing what Willis does. And they go out and they dominate. Aldine Davis is not going to win a state championship, but Kelvin Chatham's done a nice job there. They made the playoffs last year. They had a lot of guys back, and they just went out there and did what they do to Aldine Davis, 42-14. And I thought the defense for Willis, questions there on the defensive side of the ball, graduated a lot. They looked good. First exam, they looked strong. So now slowing down a very physical, it's a different type of test with Klein Collins, because Klein Collins, Adrian Mitchell's ball club, plays with a different level of physicality and intensity. It's going to be a different kind of matchup for Willis. I'll be interested to see how Willis's young guys stand up to that physicality in this football game. I think playing at home will be key. And I think they're going to have, we're still dealing with a freshman quarterback in Frazier. He's still young. What's Klein Collins going to throw at him this week to try to confuse him? That's the key. In the end, I'm taking the team with Jermaine Bishop, though. I feel like he is going to make a play or two.
Not a bad play.
But I think it's going to be a very close game and a very interesting football game, and I think we'll get a lot of questions about both of these football teams answered on Friday night in Willis.
Yeah, that's a good poll, because I think that both of them look good in week 1, but also both of them turned in, I would say, incomplete performances, or at least not fully complete performances. I don't think anybody's going to apologize for winning, but I think we both feel like one of these teams can level it up from there, and one of these teams will have an opportunity to do that to move to 2-0. So it's a good pick. My second pick, Matthew, a little Thursday night affair. So if you waited, you didn't subscribe to Dave Campbell's Texas Football,
you're going to know what happened.
What are you doing?
What are you doing?
7 o'clock Thursday night at Gustafson Stadium in San Antonio.
Oh.
It is a 5A versus 6A matchup, as the Smithson Valley Rangers, the reigning 5A Division I state champions, take on the San Antonio Brennan Bears.
The Bars.
In a matchup of 1-0 teams, a matchup of great coaches, a matchup, and let me just spoil my preview here. A matchup of two defenses that are going to knock your block off.
Yes. Physical.
This is a love letter to physical football, is Smithson Valley and Brennan. Two defenses that are just plain and simple, they're primetime defenses. Mm-hmm. Hudson Woods, Justin Roberts, Colton Hornsby for the Smithson Valley defense. We have almost no questions about the Smithson Valley defense. A, from personnel perspective, and B, from a pedigree perspective. That we know what Smithson Valley under Coach Larry Hill is defensively. They are sound, they are physical, they are mean, they are where they need to be, when they need to be there. The same thing kind of can be said for Brennan. And Brennan, Day-Day Toll-Free, Timothy Cummings, they have got dudes on the defensive side that, again, personnel, check, pedigree, check. Brennan is known far and wide as these are arguably, let me see if I can make most of the schools in San Antonio mad. Are these the two defensive torchbearers in San Antonio? As far as teams that are known traditionally to be exceptional defenses.
I think those two, and probably Steele.
Steele's probably in that mix too.
I agree.
And what's interesting, though, is that I think for both of these teams, the offenses are still maybe a little under construction. I'm not saying they're bad, in fact, Smithson Valley looked great last week against
put
Roosevelt.
up a 60-burger on San Antonio Roosevelt, yeah.
But these are offenses that we had questions about going forward. Week 1, got nice wins, but what are they doing week 2? Brennan's got the star power, the known star power. Mekhi Thompson, their running back, Caden Glass, the dual threat quarterback, who I'm a big fan of. But they were replacing, I think, 3 offensive linemen. They have to replace a lot of the skill talent around them. So still a question as to what their offense is going to look like. Smithson Valley we had huge questions about because they graduated the house offensively. I think they brought back just two offensive starters. One of the guys they lost is Cade Spradling, who is do everything for them, right? The star of that offense. Now, last week, their running back, Caleb Piegler, went berserker. I think he had 4 touchdown runs. He was exceptional in their win over Roosevelt. That's an overmatched Roosevelt team, in my opinion. And so this is a much more of a better test. There's also, I mentioned it off the top, this is a great coaching matchup here. Larry Hill and Stephen Bazor. I did the math. 467 combined wins between those two guys.
It's a lot of football games, those guys.
A lot of football games. Yeah. And I didn't do the math on this one, but my guess is that is about an 85% win percentage between the two of them.
People forget, Stephen Bazor took Brennan to a state championship game. They lost to Geyer when Geyer had Gerard Hurd, but he's taken them to the top of the mountain.
Yeah, so. He has. I think it's a fabulous game. I'm probably overreacting to 1 week worth of data, but I do think that Smithson Valley can do it. And I think that actually, I think the defensive game plan is going to be such that they're going to be able to keep this game low scoring and allow things to kind of blossom from there. I like Smithson Valley in a close one, but this is a close game, box office stuff. If you're in the San Antonio area on Thursday night, get to Gustafson. This will be a great Thursday night physical, hard-hitting, old-school football game. There'll be a lot of running game in this one. A lot of everyone will be sore on Friday morning in this.
So last year, Brennan, I wouldn't put a ton of stock in Brennan's performance in week 1. They slipped past a rebuilding Reagan team a little bit last week. Last year, Brennan lost to Reagan in the opener and then turned around and beat Smithson Valley in week 2. So I think you're going to see a different Brennan football team in week 2. I like Smithson Valley, but I think I wouldn't put a ton of stock in that Brennan performance. I think it's going to be a heck of a football game in San Antonio.
Great game in San Antonio, especially Thursday night affair. What else are you going to do? San Antonio, I think UTSA plays Saturday, so get out to Gustafson Stadium and watch that game. Good ball game. What is your second pick, Matthew?
I'm going to go out to East Texas.
I know what game you're
7 o'clock Friday night at Jeff Traylor Stadium.
Speaking of UTSA.
Speaking of, what a segue. As the Tyler Chapel Hill Bulldogs at 1-0 visit the 1-0 Gilmer Buckeyes in a really good, always entertaining East Texas 4A football. You could just go to East Texas and pick a 4A game every week, and you could probably find a heck of a football game. This is the game to pick as two of the top teams. You got Chapel Hill. Last week they knock off Jasper 49-7. And DeMarcion Blaylock, who Coach Reardon has been telling us about this kid. Yeah. He was banged up last year, didn't get healthy till the very end of the season. He kept saying DeMarcion Blaylock. During 7-on-7, he was like, watch out for DeMarcion Blaylock. And he looked great in 7-on-7. Well, guess what, guys? The pads came on, and he looked really good last week. He had 123 receiving yards and 3 touchdowns. He had a touchdown rushing.
Okay.
Just for funsies, he had a kickoff return for a touchdown as well. So that is 5 touchdowns in the win for the Bulldogs over Jasper. He is electric. In that Chapel Hill defense, 10 starters back, completely shut Jasper down, only allowed 1 touchdown. A strong debut for Chapel Hill. The early returns, if you thought Chapel Hill was going to be rebuilding this year, at least after 1 week, I would say they are not rebuilding. They are simply reloading. This is we saw it during 7-on-7. They looked good. Malik G at quarterback. I think now one question I still have about Chapel Hill, and we haven't found that out yet, is the running game. Have they found that bell cow feature running back that I think you will need when you get into district play and you're having to play the likes of Kilgore, Longview Pine Tree, Lindale, those types of things. You're going to need to have a running game, but Early returns for Chapel Hill, very good. For Gilmer, they got a win over Pine Tree, 41-25, but I would say incomplete for the Buckeyes. And here's why. Gilmer got some gifts, and I call it week 1 gifts from Pine Tree. When I'm talking week 1 gifts, I'm talking bad snaps, special teams gaffes, those kinds of things. This game was 19-17 early in the fourth quarter. Gilmer was leading. Gilmer gets a fumble return for a touchdown, and then they recovered a kickoff. Pine Tree mishandles a kickoff. They recover it. 2 plays later, they score again. All of a sudden, it's a 34-17 game. Not to mention, Gilmer had, in the first half, returned a muffed field goal snap for a touchdown as well. That's 3 basically touchdowns that are a result of Longview Pine Tree kind of handing things to Gilmer on a silver platter. I don't think you can count on that week in and week out. That's not sustainable. So I'm looking at this, I'm like, Gilmer still has some unanswered questions. Now, Zayd Taylor, their quarterback, had a strong night. He throws for a score. He runs for a score. Gilmer got the running game going. They got the big Frenchman on the offensive line, Kamara, leading the way. So that part I think is good. But I think Gilmer still has some unanswered questions. Well, those questions are going to get answered this week. Chapel Hill is a strong team coming into town. I don't expect Chapel Hill to have the same kind of gas that Pine Tree had, especially being in week 2. So I think the passing game, Malik Brown, also for Chapel Hill, the big wide receiver, who's got several Division I offers, the 2027 receiver. Him and Blaylock are a real problem for opposing secondaries. I think they're going to be too much for Gilmer. I like Chapel Hill on this one. About a touchdown. So give me Jeff Reardon's ball club to go to 2-0 in a really fascinating football game.
Yeah, and in a real kind of sorting matchup. I mean, obviously D1 and D2, so they won't play each other in playoffs, but a real sorting matchup as far as East Texas kind of power rankings are concerned.
Yep.
Because I think last week Carthage kind of established themselves per usual in 4A as like the team to beat in East Texas. Good win over Kilgore.
Breaking news.
But
breaking news. Scott Surratt's football team. Good.
Yeah, Scott Surratt off the hot seat.
Yep.
But this is a real matchup, I think, for like who will be able to bow up to the Carthages and the Kilgores, and maybe the Pleasant Groves of the world, if you want to kind of make that top group there in East Texas. So anyway, good pick there. My third pick, Matthew, 7:00 Friday night at Crowley Stadium in beautiful Crowley, Texas, Crowley, America. It is
a beautiful stadium, by the way.
A matchup of teams that are no stranger to deep playoff runs. Mm-hmm. No stranger to deep playoff runs recently.
Correct.
As the North Crowley Panthers at 1-0 take on the DeSoto Eagles at 0-1. Mm-hmm. And 2 teams coming off of what I will say, in different ways, are concerning week 1s. Mm-hmm. In different ways.
Sure.
Now, North Crowley, you can be concerned all you want, but you put one in the left-hand column.
They got to win. We don't apologize for victories.
You don't apologize for victories over here. They played, I think, a Lancaster team that we should be giving more credit to. I think a lot of the talk around Texas high school football has been what's wrong with North Crowley, when maybe I think there's not enough conversation about what's right with Lancaster.
Can I take a moment to give Leon Paul and his coaching staff a little bit of credit here? Considering what they went through with the passing of one of their players in workouts, they didn't practice for a week. They had their scrimmage canceled because they were obviously going through that process of mourning their teammate who lost, going through those types of protocols. They really didn't start prepping for North Crowley until like Tuesday, which they played Thursday. And they're talking about North Crowley.
Yeah.
So for Lancaster to come out on Thursday night after a lightning delay also and put on that kind of performance, tip of the cap to Coach Paul and the Weibo coaching staff and kids, because putting that effort together, considering the circumstances, kudos to them. So I think instead of taking away from North Crowley, I think we should give Lancaster a lot of credit.
I agree. That is. I think that's important.
Editorializing there.
I think that's important to mention because I think Lancaster is better than people maybe gave them credit for, and they played an inspired game last week. The result is a result. North Crowley wins at 22-18.
Yes.
Lancaster was driving for the win at the very end. This is just the 4th time under Ray Gates that North Crowley has failed to score 24 points in a game. And it I think the issue is that it lines up with a lot of the concerns that we had about North Crowley coming into the year. They had to replace Chris Jemerson, their star quarterback. Hayes Cloutier.
Cloutier.
I think it's
Cloutier. Tell us how to pronounce your last name. We don't want to butcher.
We're going to be saying it a lot.
I'm going to call Coach Gates and ask him.
Shaky, I think. 3 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, completed about 41% of his passes, right? Good Lancaster defense.
First start, and he's only been in Texas for like a month and a half, so he's still learning on the fly too.
Between them, offensive line, they know we need to put together.
4 starters in the offensive line.
They were placing basically, like, they lose Quentin Gibson, they lose their 2 running backs,
both of whom are divisional. Yeah, I think one that went to Utah, and one went to Arizona.
They turned the ball over 3 times, right? Committed 10 penalties. I have not talked with Ray Gates. My guess is that he would look at the tape and say, we're not going to apologize for a win, but that was sloppy.
I talked to Coach Gates. Yeah, he said it. He goes, we got work to do. We did not play well. He was quick to give Lancaster credit, but he also said we need to be better.
Speaking of teams need to be better, the DeSoto Eagles, we talked about them in the Open.
Yeah.
They go to Georgia and they get trebucheted into the sun.
Trebuchet.
There you go.
Write that down, VNA. Trebuchet.
It's a catapult.
T-R-E-B-U-C-H-E-T.
How do you even spell that?
Trebuchet. T-R-E-B or T-R-A-B-U.
That's why you're an award-winning writer. You're a journalist with a capital J.
The box. Let me tell you something. The box score's ugly for DeSoto. If you lose 70-28, it's going to be ugly. They gave up 538 yards of offense. They gave up 6.9 yards per carry on the ground.
Suboptimal.
They gave up 237 yards on 16 of 20 passing.
Well, that's a cool 80%.
Turned the ball over 4 times. They only had 145 yards of offense. Jeez. It was ugly. It was ugly. And I haven't talked with Claude Mathis, but I think he would probably, he's a straight shooter. He's going to look at that and be like, we got worked.
Yeah.
We got worked. Yeah. We had questions about what they were going to do. And it's a tough day for Legend Howell, their quarterback. They couldn't get anything going on the ground. Sarad Baker only had 8 carries for 31 yards. And the defense, obviously.
Yeah.
We know that on paper, both these teams have a lot of talent. I think you are about to have a really interesting matchup of coaching staffs to say who's going to fix these things quicker. Because I do think that the most change happens between week 1 and week 2.
Yes, the most improvement should happen between
week 1 and week 2. Who can make those changes? And who can, I think, get more consistency from the quarterback spot? And who can, and specifically, can DeSoto figure things out defensively? Because right now, at the very least, of the 4 units involved in this game, you can at least look at the North Crowley defense and say, like, you know what? Pretty good.
Yeah, North Crowley's defense played well Thursday night, and we feel confident that's the most consistent group right now.
I think that is the difference here. I do think both teams will look better. I do think both teams will look better, but I do think that Crowley's going to move to 2-0. North Crowley, rather, is going to move to 2-0, figure things out. And for DeSoto, I mean, I have to look at the last time they've been 0-2.
Well, I know that they haven't had a 3-game losing streak since 2008.
Yeah,
I did look. They went 6-6. I think it was Claude Mathis's first year. It was early in his tenure. My thing about this game, there's 2 big time receivers in this game. For DeSoto, you got Booby Feaster, the USC commit, who reclassified to be a senior, and you got the super sophomore at North Crowley, Champ Mays. Great nickname matchup. Yep. Demarion, Champ Mays. You got Booby and Champ. Whichever wide receiver can kind of take the top off the defense, loosen things up a little bit, and can make a play, I think that will help their opponent. So I'm kind of watching that. My edge, this is not nothing against Feaster, but I think North Crowley's secondary is much more equipped to slow Feaster down.
I would agree.
You've got Aaron Bradshaw, you got Elijah Juan Houston, you got Jerry Outhouse, you got 3 or 4 Division I guys in North Crowley's secondary. I don't think DeSoto's secondary has those kind of playmakers. That's why I give the edge to North Crowley.
Here's a promise. Neither of these teams are going to have a fun week of practice. Neither of these coaches. They're going to be coached pretty hard this week by both Claude Mathis and Ray Gates and their crews. That is a promise. So anyway, I like DeSoto and North Crowley as my third pick. What is your third pick, Matthew?
7:00 Friday night at Citibank Stadium in Forney. We have a cross-regional matchup as A&M Consolidated at 1-0 visits Forney, Texas to take on Jeff Fleener's ball club, who is also 1-0. And for Consol, they're on a nice little winning streak here. 12 regular season games in a row. that they have won, and including that last week they made quick work of Lake Belton, 44-17. Nice win for Brandon Schmidt's ball club, who went 12-1 last year and got a win over Forney at home last year. It's a great win for them over Lake Belton. Their new quarterback, Amarian Moore, had a great game, over 300 yards of offense. He did it on the ground. He did it through the air. He tallied 3 touchdowns. And, Consol's got a new defensive coordinator. Their previous defensive coordinator is now the head coach at Georgetown Eastview. Carter Yates did a great story on him and some of his battle with cancer. Bill Robertson now over there at Eastview. So new defensive coordinator. And I would say after 1 week, the returns are good. Holding Brian Cope and Lake Belton, they always have an explosive offense, holding them to 17 points. A nice effort for the Tigers. But big challenge this week for their defense because Forney, offensively, the Jackrabbits have playmakers.
Yeah, they do.
Javian Osborne, the Notre Dame commit, 220 yards and 2 touchdowns, and looked healthy. He was battling some stuff last year towards the end of the year. He was real beat up, had a heavy workload, and just looked a little worn down towards the end of last year. He wasn't healthy. Well, he looked healthy and spry in week 1. Running against Lake Highlands. He had a huge game. Nelson Peterson, the quarterback, had 3 touchdowns passing. Forney's offense looked explosive. They looked the part. The flip side of that, Forney's defense got some work to do. They did beat Lake Highlands 37-34. Maybe the most entertaining game of the night on Thursday night. That was a really fun ball game on Texan Live, by the way. Really fun ball game. But if I'm Forney, I got worries about the defense. They gave up over 500 yards to Lake Highlands, and you say, oh well, Christian Rhodes for Lake Highlands had a monster game. The SMU commit running back. Well, no, Christian Rhodes got hurt in the second quarter and didn't come back in the game. It was Lake Highlands' passing game that torched Forney for those over 500 yards. So they're going to need to clean that up a little bit. And I think Coach Fleener and his defensive staff, they're going to have a renewed emphasis on the defense. And I don't think Consol is going to be as explosive or dynamic in the passing attack. So I think Forney's defense will fare a little bit better. And I think Osborne has another big night. I mean, he's got a strong case as the best running back in the state of Texas.
Yes.
And I think he has another big night. And I think Forney goes to 2-0, just proving again. Let me tell you something. 10-6A might be the district of doom. We talk about 11-6A and 23-6A. Look at 10-6A top to bottom. That might be the best district in the state of Texas at 6A level. And Forney in that district, I think, could go to 2-0, should go to 2-0 with a win over a very dangerous Consol ball club. So looking forward to this. Love to get those DFW versus Syntex or Houston type games just to kind of see where each area stands. So looking forward to this one on Friday night.
It will. That's a good matchup. I think that actually Consol fans will probably travel pretty well. I think so. Like relatively speaking, make that trip up from the Brazos Valley.
Is A&M at home on Saturday?
What a great! Who could possibly know that? Who could possibly know that? Anyway, that's a good pick, Consol and Forney.
Thank you for knowing that.
You're welcome. My 4th pick, Matthew. You've gone east. I'm going west.
Oh.
7:00 Friday night at perhaps my favorite stadium in Texas high school football.
Ooh, your favorite. It's a high bar.
The Mustang Bowl in Sweetwater.
Ah, yes.
That is a pretty, got to be.
It's up there.
It's up there.
It's up there.
As far as iconography in Texas high school football.
The Mustang Bowl is up there.
Pretty good. As the Sweetwater Mustangs at 1-0 welcome in the Greenwood Rangers at 1-0 out of Midland. And we had Coach Brian Hill on the show on TFT last Thursday ahead of their win over Seminole?
Childress,
he said confidently.
Very confident.
Childress. And he mentioned, I kind of asked him, is there a buzz around this program right now? And he said, yeah, like people around town are talking about the Greenwood Rangers. And I'll tell you, that buzz hasn't waned after week 1. They take on Childress, and they win 42-21. It was not that close.
No.
No. They were up comfortably, maybe like...
It was 35-7 at halftime, and I think 42-7 early third, and I think Coach Hill said, okay, we're good. Let's get the starters out of here.
Lincoln Madrid, their quarterback. Got to be honest, I'm developing a little bit of a crush. He's pretty great. He's pretty great.
Yeah.
Lincoln Madrid can play. He had 4 touchdowns. They get the win. Sweetwater is, I think, one of those teams that in 3A Division I is right outside that what I'll call the talking zone, okay? There are these teams in every classification that we'll find ourselves talking a lot about just because they are the teams that we think are those contenders. I think Sweetwater resides right outside of that. And I think there's reason to believe they should be in the talking zone this week, especially if they get a win this week.
Yes, I think they get a win this week. They are firmly into. I think they could probably make a case to jump into the state rankings at that point. Greenwood would be a signature win.
Yeah. Brian Hodnett, their new head coach, they're now 1-0 under him. Caden Ortiz, their quarterback, was terrific in their win last week over Idalou. Doubled them up 44-22. Braxton Barty, their linebacker, a dog. He got that dog in him watch list. He was all over the place in that win over Idalou last week. Greenwood is bigger from a enrollment perspective. Greenwood, I think, is bigger from a size perspective, right? And I think that they've got that depth that I think this is a really tight game until about 2 minutes left in the third quarter. And then I wonder if the depth advantage and the size advantage for Greenwood is I think they're going to lean on Sweetwater a little bit. I think it's a whale of a ball game, and I think for Sweetwater, there is a real high upside here. That even if they don't win the game, if they go out there and they challenge Greenwood for 4 quarters and make them work for it for 4 quarters, I think that they can feel like, hey, we can hang in 3A Division 1. In a 3A Division 1 that we feel like is becoming more and more wide open.
Yeah.
That, hey, you know what?
There's no big bad wolf, especially in Region 1.
Especially in Region 1.
There's Paradise still. I think Paradise is probably the favorite, but I don't think Paradise is this. There's no Brock.
No, there's no Brock. Exactly right. And so I think that for Sweetwater, there's a lot of upside here. And I think Greenwood's your favorite. I like this Greenwood team a lot. I think I picked them to go to I think I picked them to win Region 1.
I think they're a lot of they're kind of the chic pick to win Region 1 and 4A Division.
Well, I am very chic.
When I think of Greg Tepper, I think of chic.
I like Greenwood, but I think that we will learn a lot, especially about Sweetwater in this ball game, welcoming a bigger team there in Greenwood. So, fabulous game there in the Mustang Bowl. What is your 4th pick, Matthew?
Greg Tepper, I like it out west. I think I'm going to stay out west as well.
Okay.
Small school ball. 7 o'clock Friday night at Wildcat Stadium in Canadian.
Oh, you're going way west and way north.
Way west and way north.
Yeah.
Another scenic stadium, beautiful Canadian, Texas, as the 1-0 Bushland Falcons visit Canadian to take on the 1-0 Canadian Wildcats. And these are two teams that I think they have a lot of pedigree in the Panhandle as two of the better small school teams in that area. And Canadian statewide in 3A Division 2, one of the best teams in the state. But I think we look at this and we're going to answer a lot of questions about both these football teams because both these teams come into the season with questions. And after 1 week, they both got wins. But to be honest, especially for Bushland, they played a team they overmatched. Like we didn't learn a lot about Bushland. All due respect to Borger, but Borger is rebuilding. And Bushland did what you should do to a rebuilding team when you're a team like Bushland, is beat them 55-0. Canadian played Elk City, Oklahoma, and again, I don't know much about Elk City, Oklahoma, other than they're a little bit bigger than.
I know they play them like every year, basically.
They generally give Canadian trouble. I know Elk City's like a 4A Division 2 size school. They got an enrollment of like 550, so they're a bigger school than Canadian.
Yeah, it seems like every year they've open
the
with them and like it ends up being like a relatively competitive matchup that Canadian wins, and there's a little bit of talk about like what's wrong with Canadian.
You just don't know anything about Elk City. I mean, it's not like they're playing Tulsa Union or Jinx or Broken Arrow or somebody like that. We don't know about them. Well, this time they actually handled Elk City pretty well, 33-6. And Sladen Dickinson had 212. Canadian has a lot of questions. They're very young, but one place we know they don't have questions is running back. Sladen Dickinson is a bell cow. He had 212 yards rushing and 2 touchdowns. Their sophomore quarterback, Weston Mitchell, nice debut. He only had 118 yards passing, but he ran for a couple of scores. And the biggest thing was he didn't make a lot of mistakes. Like when you're playing a sophomore quarterback in his first varsity start, you don't want the big mistakes. You wanted to manage the game and kind of grow into it. And I think he did that. Like I said, Bushland beats Borger 55-0. They played two quarterbacks because their quarterback, Quade Ferris, transferred in the offseason to Wolford Friendship. So Colton Strickland and Cannon Avan both were kind of rotating there at quarterback. Avan had 100 yards rushing, 2 touchdown passes. Strickland had a couple of touchdown runs. I don't know what the long-term plan is. I haven't talked to Coach Reynolds at Bushland about it, but I don't know if they're going to go with a 2-quarterback system or if they're kind of using non-district as kind of the competition, and then hopefully by district which they're only in a 4-team district, so they have a lot of non-district games. So maybe they try to kind of see where things go as they kind of move towards the playoffs. But there's some questions there. Bushland's defense, though, held Borger under 100 yards of offense. They forced 3 turnovers. I like that start. You dominate. You do what you're supposed to do. You dominate a team that you're a lot better than. So shout out to Bushland in that performance. But I think I'm interested in this game because I really want to see kind of the measuring stick for both these ball clubs. This is kind of going to be your litmus test to see where they stand. Bushland in 3A Division I, Canadian in 3A Division II.
Yeah, like is a lot of the questions about Canadian are basically, was last year a hiccup or a new normal, right? Yeah. Now, Wall has certainly done their part to say we run Region 1 now, but can Canadian kind of rise back up to that place where they can challenge Wall now in a Region 1 setting in 3A Division 2? So it's an excellent pick up there, way up north.
I like Canadian. I think at home, you lean to the Wildcats with the home game.
Yeah, that's one of the. It's like that and like Tex Line are like the 2 farthest north teams or like cities in Texas, like right along
Tex Line, and I want to say maybe it's Booker.
Yeah, Booker's way up there.
Booker and Perryton. Perryton. This is a fun fact about Perryton.
Here's a fun fact with Perryton, presented by CoverZero Analytics.
The closest Walmart to Perryton is in Liberal, Kansas. So you have to, if you want to go to Walmart and you live in Perryton, the closest one is in Kansas.
This has been today's Perryton Fun Fact, presented by CoverZero Analytics. CoverZeroAnalytics.com.
And visit Perryton.com. I don't know if that website exists, but
it's about to.
Go visit Perryton. Yeah, somebody make that website, please.
It just goes to.
And just put a big picture of me on the front. There's a guy in a backwards hat. And why is he in Perryton?
My 5th and final pick, Matthew.
You're off the rails today.
That's what happens when you're back in studio. My 5th and final pick, Matthew. 7:00 Friday night. Mountain Time!
Oh my God.
At Conquest Stadium in El Paso.
Oh, where they had the best press box spread in Texas.
It is, here's a hot take, the first must-see game in El Paso this season.
Ooh.
Because I think week 1, we kind of eased into it.
Yeah.
There are a couple matchups here and there, but this is the first box office game in El Paso.
This has got banger alert written all over it.
As the El Paso Franklin Cougars at 1-0 visit the El Paso del Valle Conquistadores.
Oh, yes.
Did
you say it right, P?
And I can't believe I'm saying this, one of the best recruiting matchups in the state of Texas.
Oh, yeah. You're into recruiting.
Star power galore. And we love El Paso. We normally cannot say this is an awesome recruiting matchup in El Paso, because normally El Paso's got 1, maybe 2 guys out there who are FBS guys. There was a piece up on TexasFootball.com about how this is like the best year in El Paso ever.
From a recruiting standpoint.
From a talent perspective, it is crazy. Crazy what they've been able to do. Let's start. Both these teams got great wins in week 1. For El Paso Franklin, the Ruben Torres era began with a terrific win over El Paso Chapin.
Early returns look good.
Yes. We knew that they were going to have dudes, okay? They've got Justin Morales, their star tackle.
Yeah, Kansas State
commit. He's a dog. I think Ernie Powers, their running back, if he's not getting, I don't know what I don't follow recruiting like Greg Powers does, but Ernie Powers
is Ernie related
his
to Greg?
brother.
Yeah.
his nephew,
Yeah.
Ernie Powers.
The Powers, there's been a
He's
lot.
awesome.
There's been a lot of Powers go through the Franklin program. A lot of those kids have gone on to play college football. That's a known name there in El Paso. The Powers family.
And Ernie Powers, 5 touchdowns last week, was terrific. This team, like, they are loaded, and they're
big and fast. Franklin is big and fast. Their track team always they had a great. They won the Region 1 title in track. They got dudes.
Del Valle gets a win over El Paso Montwood, a 6A team, by the way, punching up 41-7. They dominate them. And the story, per usual, the El Passer.
That's right.
Jake Fetty, their quarterback, who is
Arizona State
commit, and I mean, he's just
one of the best quarterbacks in the country.
He's just so good, man.
He is.
He's so good. 3 touchdown passes last week. They got 2 rushing yards from Dante Eichison, their quarterback.
92 yards.
Yeah. They've got dude. They are balanced. It's not just go out there and win the game, Jake Fetty.
Yeah.
Because there have been past years like El Paso teams where, and that's I think what's most encouraging about Del Valle. There have been past years where if you've got a dude, that's all you had. Like, I go back to when Aaron Jones was at Burgess. He was the whole stinking team.
They made the plane out of Aaron Jones.
He was either going to run for 300 yards or they were going to probably lose, right? If Del Valle can beat you in a variety of different ways, it's going to be interesting. Now, Franklin's the bigger team. They're a 6A team. This is also, I think, for both teams, a level up in competition from what they faced in week 1.
Absolutely.
Fascinating ball game here. I don't know, man. I think Franklin, from a size and depth perspective, is probably the favorite.
I think the trench play here is going to be key.
Is probably the favorite, but also the best player is on Del Valle.
Correct. Yeah, and Fetty can put the team on his back and will them to a win. If I'll be very interested to see Franklin's defensive game plan, how they attack the Del Valle offense, and what kind of they try to do to slow Fetty down. Do they dare Del Valle to run the football, which is kind of seemed like what Montwood did last week. Was they played a light box, and well, Del Valle just said, okay, you're gonna show a 5-man box. We're just gonna run for 250 yards.
Right.
So
this is like I said, this is the first real box office attraction in El Paso.
Correct.
First of many this year.
Yes.
But this is the first one where it's like, stop what you're doing on Friday night and go to Conquest Stadium.
It's going to be a packed house, big crowd.
Yeah.
If you're in the press box, I promise you're going to eat good because the Del Valle home ec group, the hospitality there is first class. There'll be some kind of home-cooked meal that will be elite, I promise.
Anyway, Franklin Del Valle is a lot of fun.
Was the El Paso Huddy?
That's a Hudson Standish joint.
That's a Hudson Standish joint.
We did get permission to use the nickname.
Okay.
Hudson is not charging us royalties as
Just
of
wanted
yet.
to make sure.
But if we could, in the video version, could we just say, it would be just say something like Jake Fetty, the El Passer, and then put like copyright Hudson Standish.
Yes.
Right here.
Yes, yeah,
that'd be
there
great.
you go.
If you
Yes.
could write that down, that'd be
Do
great. What is your 5th and final pick, Matthew?
Let's go 7 o'clock Friday night. I don't know what the name of the stadium is. We're just going to say in Edna.
Yeah.
As the 1-0 Bay City Black Cats visit.
It's Memorial Stadium.
Is it Memorial Stadium in Edna? I know it's Bay. I think Bay Cities is Memorial.
Let me ask Bob McSpadden.
Okay.
It's Cowboy Memorial Stadium.
Cowboy Memorial Stadium. Okay.
It's on Miracle Drive. That's cute.
That's nice. Jackson County. As the Edna Cowboys host the Bay City Black Cats. And this is an interesting little rivalry. You know, Bay City's about 40 miles east of Edna, so they're not far from each other. Edna's 3A Division 2. Bay City is 4A Division 1. For whatever reason, I guess I know the reason. Edna's been really good recently. They have won 4 in a row against Bay City. And it's not like Bay City is a bad 4A Division 1 team.
No.
They were in a regional final last year, and Edna beat them 35-7. You don't typically see that in these type of rivalry games where the smaller school, that much smaller school, 2 divisions, has had the edge over the bigger school. That's what's happened here with this Edna and Bay City rivalry. Interested to see how this one goes. Bay City, they beat Sweeney last week 48-14, and we had a lot of questions about Bay City's offense. A lot of youth. They're playing 2 quarterbacks. They're trying to figure it. They were playing 2 quarterbacks all through 7-on-7, and some weeks they looked good. Some weeks they looked a little sloppy. But but they rolled past Sweeney and Aiden Wiggins, their running back, 123 yards rushing and 2 touchdowns. Kemarian Wiggins, the athlete who plays a little quarterback, plays a little receiver, he throws for 130 yards, but he also had 62 yards receiving and 2 touchdowns. So Edna's offense, despite the youth, looked good. Step up in competition this week in Edna. Even though Sweeney's a 4A, I think Edna clearly is a better team.
I would agree
than Sweeney. So we're gonna find out a lot more about Bay City this week, especially playing an offense that's more balanced. Sweeney's a slot T offense, very one dimensional, and I think they kind of wore down against Bay City because they just couldn't maintain possession. Their defense got tired. Well, now you got Edna. Jamie Dixon's debut at Edna, I would say, went well against Vanderbilt Industrial. They won 46-2.
I would say that's pretty good.
So I don't know how you give up those 2 points. What the hell is going on in Edna? But 46 points seems good. And the Lavaca River Showdown. Edna and Vanderbilt Industrial. So I guess Edna gets to claim they own the river, at least for another year. Maverick Robertson, their running back, runs for 3 touchdowns. Trevor Lloyd moves over from free safety to quarterback. He runs for a score and throws for a score. Edna returned the second half kickoff for a touchdown. So all 3 phases got involved for the Cowboys in this win. They're taking a huge step up in competition this week because Bay City, one thing you know about Bay City is they are going to be athletic, they are going to be super speedy, and they're going to test that Edna defense, which, to be honest, didn't get tested last week. Vanderbilt Industrial is a little bit of a rebuild. They don't have the kind of playmakers and overall team speed that Bay City brings to the table. I know Robert Jones very well, the head coach at Bay City. He's a proud Bay City alum. The fact that Edna has had their number, I know, irks the hell out of them. I know they want to get that chip off their shoulder. They want to just end this Edna dominance they've had. I think Bay City's defense, that veteran group, Bay City's got a defense that brings, I think, 7 or 8 starters back. So a very veteran, senior-heavy defense for Bay City. They're speedy. They're physical. And Edna still is figuring the things out on offense. This is a new system, a new scheme, new terminology that Coach Dixon's brought in. I give the edge to Bay City in this one. I think they end Edna's streak. They win a close one on the road, but I like Bay City in this one. Should be a great ball game down there in the Crossroads region. Hopefully our good friend Mike Foreman might be in the house for that ball game. 2 of the better teams in that greater Victoria metro area, the metropolis that is Victoria, Texas.
So there it is, your Week 2 game draft. Stepp took Klein, Collins, and Willis, Gilmer and Chapel Hill, A&M Consolidated, Forney, Canadian and Bushland, and Bay City and Edna. We
covered the whole state.
I took Salina and Waco La Vega, Smithson Valley and San Antonio Brennan, North Carolina and DeSoto, Midland, Greenwood, Sweetwater, and El Paso, Franklin, El Paso, Del Valle.
Nice cross-section of the state.
Yeah, no Rio Grande Valley games. There's a couple.
McAllen Memorial and Weslaco is a pretty good one, I think, down in the valley to keep an eye on.
We didn't mention Duncanville and South Oak Cliff. I think because we talked about South Oak Cliff last week. Debut for Duncanville.
First game for them. They were off last week.
They had the week. I think they only have 8 games scheduled.
They do. They don't have a game next week either.
Yeah,
they were off last week. They play this week, and then they're off next week.
Find out a lot about them. Other games that we could have. Apologies to Munster and Holiday has my attention in a real way. Newton and Jefferson.
Lake Travis and Rockwall. Katy and Atascocita.
Really big game. And then I would throw in Lovejoy and Highland Park, because remember, Highland Park loses to Heath. I would say Prosper and Heath, by the way. You want to talk about a level up game.
Thursday night game, big game in San Antonio, Piper and Johnson.
Yeah, Piper and Johnson is a huge game, too. Anyway.
It's a good slate. It's a good Week 2 slate across the state of Texas. Just some good games.
Yeah, very, very good games. It's now time for our Hipster game of the week, which I guess we could pick those for that, but I'm not. What are you picking for your Hipster game of the week?
Go Friday night. They're at Daikin Stadium in Waller as the Conroe Grand Oaks Grizzlies, led by Sean McDowell, will visit the Waller Bulldogs in a battle of 1-0 teams in the Houston area who I think are up and coming.
And somebody's O must go.
Yes. It's 1-0 versus 1-0. Throw the records out the window. But I like this game, first off, because you have 2 up-and-coming teams in the Houston area who I think have designs. They've finished, Grand Oaks was 5th in district last year. Waller was 7th in district. Both of them think they can get into the playoff mix this year. Well, here's your measuring stick against another team that's kind of in your weight class. Both of them got strong wins last week, but they were playing teams who were in a little bit of a rebuild. So measuring stick game. Love the quarterback matchup here. Waller has the super sophomore in TK Gaines, who I know we all love. 2-sport star there at Waller. Unbelievable baseball player. Also a very good quarterback who started 11 games for Waller as a freshman and is already generating Division I offers. And then you've got for Grand Oaks, you got Grant Smith, 3-year starter. Has offers from Colorado State, Cal, Baylor, Arkansas, 6'4", 205, veteran quarterback. So you got the veteran, two talented quarterbacks, the veteran at Grand Oaks, the young gun at Waller. Like that matchup. So a really good game in the greater Houston area on Friday night, that Grand Oaks and Waller.
Matt Stepp, it's an excellent pick. It's a good hipster game of the week.
Thank you for noting that.
My hipster game of the week, you thought you were going to be, you thought we were done with the Crossroads. Matt Stepp, what if I promised you that a game was going to sell out this week?
I'm interested. I love a sellout.
7 o'clock Friday night at Frost Bank Memorial Stadium in Victoria.
Love the sponsorship. Good job, Victoria ISD.
As the Victoria East Titans, thank you, take on the Victoria West Warriors in the matchup that is known as...
It's got a nickname?
Yeah, the Battle of the Boot, I believe it's what it's called.
Heck yeah.
Let me make sure I got this right. You're listening to live coverage of me saying, yeah, Battle for the Boot. Battle for the Boot. For the Boot, okay. Battle for the Boot. It is the matchup between East and West there in Victoria. It's a game that I think if you were to talk with the folks in Victoria, there is a real... It's lost a little bit of luster because it's not a district game anymore. Mm-hmm. Because I believe West is D1?
No, East is D1.
East is D1, mm-hmm. West is D2. And now, look, I would be remiss if I didn't tell you that this does feel like two programs that are in different places right now. East is coming off of a loss to Georgetown, got lost 27-0, mm-hmm. couldn't get anything going offensively. Can they find something kind of to go with? It feels like a lot of their offense is going to have to go through their senior running back, Prashawn Stafford, to get him going. West is coming off a big win over Lockhart. They looked every bit the part of the team that I know you're really, really high on this year.
Regional contender. My pick to win the region.
Yeah, Nolan Boyce, their kind of dual threat quarterback, was a star in that one.
Had 6 touchdowns rushing in that game against Lockhart.
I would tell you, though, throw out the record books.
Oh, let's go.
You throw out the record books. It does tend to be close. Mm-hmm. I will tell you this. Last year, West was, in my opinion, better than East. It was a 41-28 ball game. Mm-hmm. And so... Could we get another close ball game? Hopefully. I will tell you that East leads the series 9-6 all time. So
close series.
You throw out the record books there in Victoria. I like Victoria. Victoria West.
I love a good rivalry.
Nice little week 2 rivalry game down there in the Crossroads region. It will be sold out. That is a promise.
There's another really good game in the Crossroads region as Tidehaven and Goliad.
Yes. It
is a great Friday night slate in the Victoria, the greater Victoria metro area.
No excuse not to be out at a game. Let's go to VNA Moreno.
Oh, do we need to tell where I'm going this week?
Here to tell you where he's going.
It's a staple of the show, Tepper. Come on. All right, Thursday night, I'll be in Mesquite. As you know, Tepper, the elite hospitality in Mesquite ISD.
One of my very favorite stadiums.
As Mesquite Memorial Stadium will host Mesquite Poteet, led by Terrence Orr, taking on West Mesquite, led by Steven Jackson. So, Mesquite ISD showdown Thursday night between Poteet and West.
Two ball-knowing dudes right there.
Friday night, I will be at historic Pennington Field in Bedford as the Midland Legacy Rebels. For the second week in a row coming to the Metroplex. Last week they played Allen. Took one on the chin against Allen, but Coach Clint Hartman will have his guys ready as they take on the Trinity Trojans, who went down to Houston.
By the way,
really nice win over Strake Jesuit. They held John Aber in check. So Trinity, sneaky good team.
That was one of those games that, we probably didn't talk about enough, but really nice statement victory.
Trinity go down to Houston and do that to Strake. Impressive win for Trinity. So Trinity and Midland Legacy on Friday night. And Saturday, I'll be back in the Alamo City at Heroes Stadium watching Alamo Heights in Churchill Saturday night. So,
a Carl Padilla special.
Yes, it's Carl Padilla's alma mater, Churchill. 2 teams that are 1-0. Alamo Heights beat Seguin, and Churchill knocked off San Antonio Stevens last week. So, battle of 1-0 teams Saturday night in the Alamo City.
Can I Ask VNA what you wrote down now.
Well, what are you doing? Tell us what you're doing Friday night.
What if Friday night you guys tuned in to Dave Campbell's Texas Football Tonight? Scores,
I did.
analysis, highlights from across the state of Texas with myself, Ashley Pickle, 90 minutes of high school football hayride. If you come and hang out with us, 10:30 p.m. wherever you stream, coming up here this Friday. So go do it. Let's go to VNA. Can I do this now?
Yes, go
Let's
ahead.
go to VNA Moreno and find out. Hey, VNA, what'd you write down?
Hey guys, I love hearing where Matt Stepp is going. That's
Thank you, VNA.
I wrote down. You guys were funny today.
We did it.
Yay!
Oh yeah. We can be bought. Nice.
We can.
Nice start. Oh, where am I? There.
I don't know.
Okay. I like how you said a love letter to physical football.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Is that what it was?
Mm-hmm. What game was that?
I forgot the word that you
Oh, Smithson
mentioned.
Valley. Brennan.
Trebuchet?
Trebuchet. Yeah. Let me look this up.
Trebuchet.
Oh god.
Trebuchet. Yeah, there you go. See?
Trebuchet.
It's like that thing.
Wow.
Doesn't look fun.
It doesn't look fun if you
No.
get trebuchet into the sun.
Yeah.
What did I write here? When I think of something, I think when I think of chic, I think of Tepper.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
That's
Thank
funny.
you. Thank you, as I'm in my hoodie.
Box office in El Paso.
Yes.
Somebody's.
I want to be very clear about that because we're making sure we're giving credit for that. That for things that Hudson Standish said the El Paso.
El Paso.
Yes.
I stole somebody's O Must Go from Rick Renner.
Okay.
That is a Rick Renner
Okay, fine.
shout out to Rick Renner.
go-to.
Somebody's
Shout
must go.
out to Rico.
And Battle of the Boot. That's cool.
Yeah, the
I
battle,
like that.
battle of the Boot down there in Victoria.
cute.
It's going to be a great week of Texas football. Make sure you get out to a game. And if you're not, or even if you are, stream more games on Dave Campbell's Texas
Yes.
Live. Got like 60, 70
Yes.
this week.
Too many games to count.
Irresponsible amount of football on Dave Campbell's Texan Live. That's going to do it for us. Thanks for spending a little bit of your day with us. Thanks to VNA Moreno for putting up with us. And Stepp, thanks for your courage.
Thank you.
We will see you next week on Tep and Step.